GradAchiever helps students achieve their college dreams. GradAchiever has other services like helping find financial aids, volunteering activities, events, podcast, tutor, mentor, counselor, forums and groups. Parents can network with like-minded parents. GradAchiever helps students and their parents to connect with required services without any fee. Be a part of the GradAchiever community and bridge the gap between your dreams and reality. Join us at gradachiever.com.
Recording. Okay, great. So first of all, I would like to thank Millie Roy, who agreed to join us on this session and share some insight about counseling, the process, and what's her take about it. So before we get started in this journey, I would like, Millie, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background and your profile?
Okay, so my name is Millie Roy, and I do college admission. I help students with college admission. I have a website called Admission Planner. My background is very interesting. I actually am from Karakurayati. I did regional planning, came here to do my PhD. And then when my kids were growing up, I realized that I needed to know more about the college admission process. So I went to, I did get a counseling degree. I am a certified counselor with the PPS, like the one that you have for schools. Mm-hmm. But I also went and did a certificate in college admission and career planning. Initially, it was just to help my family, but my kids, of course, did not take my help, like, typical kids and parents, but their friends started doing it. And then that's how I became like a full-time college admission counselor. So I help high school kids. I help in building their profile. I help choosing courses, the 4-year courses in high school, anything that they need to do from outside to, supplement their profile. I help them be the best student that they can be, not just academically, but also like as a person, like how they grow. And then I help with college search. I help with the college admission process. We have essay workshops. Meaning I have essay workshops. And then I help them with the entire college process. Like, they fill the application. I make sure they're done correctly. I have a very strict timeline as to when they submit what. So basically the entire process.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So, as like if I look at America is like a land of immigrants, right? And America do have their own way of academy. And I think that's where this counseling is an add-on, because I mean, me, myself being a parent, I also don't know. We just go behind the grades. So if I just ask you, like in the layman term, if a parent asks me that, hey, why do you think, and what is this exactly the counseling is? Like, why can't my student just go ahead, do his regular study and just, take whatever is the format of education and college admission? Then why this counseling is required? Then what would be your answer?
So what happens is, like over here, colleges don't look at just the grades. Most colleges do not look at just the grade. They will say they want a holistic review of the student. So what happens is, like, first and foremost, over here, unlike India, we do not have a straightforward, like, you take a science stream or a art stream or a commerce stream. Over here, you do almost everything in high school. The students don't necessarily know in details what they want to be, but they have an inclination as to what they do not want to be, right? The colleges want to see why you want to study what you want to study, and then what background you have. Now, the background doesn't have to be completely just academic. They also want to see community service, meaning like how much invested are you in your own community, like who you are as a person. They want to see whether the student fits well into their environment, and the student will actually grow. This country is not only about the numbers. It's more than that. It's building the profile. It's actually becoming a holistic person.
So you're saying it's more like what you are as an individual, and what you are bringing to the college as an individual, and your all past experience, whether it's academic or social or extracurricular, it kind of shows that, right? Project your entire profile. And that's what, being a counselor, you help the kids and the child to build that, right?
Right. I mean, basically, the kid needs to know how to grow. It's not like, a lot of people will be doing community service thinking I need so many hours, but that's not it. You do community service because you want to do that particular community service, and how you're growing through that. That is something that the colleges will definitely look for. Also, the extracurricular activity. I mean, there is no formula to applications. There's no formula to get into any particular college, right? You have to be the best the best student. Like, if you're good in sports, then that's what you pursue, and you do it because you want to do it. If you really are that compassionate, you will be doing community services beyond the hours that is necessary for the school graduation or whatever, right? So, and then like they want to see like how you have grown through these activities, whether it's community service, whether it's activity like your extracurricular activities, and also whether through academics, because in academics too, you're going to do different kinds of music program, different kinds of team program, like, lab work. And so they want to know like, how do you, like, who you are through everything that you've done.
Yeah. So, I mean, just I have a follow-up question here. So, in India, we usually are compared with, there is always a relative, right? That, oh, your percentage is this. And I think that's not what is here. You are not compared against anybody else. They are just looking at you as an individual. So your profiling approach is going to be very different from what we used to do, because we always compare ourselves. Oh, are you best in your class? And that was, our kind of a threshold, right? Where do you stand in your class? I am guessing that's not how it's over here, right? They
No.
don't compare you.
They don't generally, but they like when the colleges get an application from a student from particular school, high school, they will compare that student's the GPA and stuff like that against the peers of that particular school. They will not compare with anybody and everybody. It's like basically they want to see like what the school offers in the form of like honorses or APs, and if the student has pushed themselves further, right? Meaning like you don't want to do the easy course and get the 4.0. You want to try taking some of the challenging courses, but you don't have to take all the challenging courses just because a peer is doing it or a friend is doing it, or somebody says in order to get into this particular program you have to do so many APs. There is no such formula. So you exactly what you said, you are not really compared. What you do is like the student has to do the best, has to be the best of herself or himself. I mean, that's the goal.
Okay, great. I mean, after listening to you, I'm like, oh my God, there are so many business rules on it. So, the question next is, what is the best time period for a student to think about a counselor? I mean, is it like at one point of time, is it too late or is it like too early? What do you suggest?
That will really depend on the student, the family, and the counselor. Like, some counselors will take students at late as now for 12th graders. I cannot, right? Okay. So, but the thing is like some kids will, and then again, some counselors will have hourly, like they will just, again, what the student needs. Now, sometimes the student kind of knows what they're doing and they're they're following their pattern. And then like they might need some essay help or some college help. So there are counselors to provide that. There are many counselors who are going to do hourly. People like us, like I like to do the comprehensive package, because for me, I need to know the student. So ideally, most of my kids will be coming around like the beginning of junior year. But I have also noticed when I have students earlier on, meaning like say from 9th grade onwards, we can help plan the coursework. Sometimes certain schools will not provide a particular course, and then how we can do it from outside, whether we need to do certain courses from outside, like what kind of whether it's going to be a community college course, whether it's going to be an online high school course. So those planning can be done, right? And then again, by the end of 10th grade, most students will, like in ninth grade, if they know what they want to do, it's mostly because of the environment, the parents, the friends, etc., etc. The kids have not been really exposed to all the courses, so they probably don't know themselves, but they're just being influenced by, maybe parents, aunts and uncles, friends, etc., etc., right? So when you go through, like by the end of 10th grade, the student has figured out what they like and what they do not like, meaning in a broad sense, right? So at that point, from ninth grade on, I like to keep all doors open. So I just want to see, like, okay, if you really like this, can we do these kind of courses? Can we do this kind of extracurricular activities, maybe some internships, or like expose yourself to find out whether you really want to do it or not. So that help I can provide. And a lot of time I've seen kids who are a little bit not so sure of themselves, they benefit from that, like if they come early. But again, it really depends on the student and the family, of course.
Okay, so you are saying maybe junior year is the ideal time, which is like a balanced. Not
For me, junior year, yeah. I mean, later than that, it becomes tough for me. I get filled up. Like for
yeah.
myself, like I am probably filled up already for next year's seniors.
Okay.
So I probably won't take any more seniors. Like maybe one or two, depending on like if they truly need help, right? So now there are other people who will take much later, meaning like they prefer taking students at the later time. That way, they are just doing the application, they're doing the essays, and it's nothing wrong there.
Yes.
But I'm the only person in my company, meaning like I don't have anybody else working with me. So I like to know my students better. I like to, like when I do the edits, like they will write it. I'm not writing it for them, the essays, right?
Yeah.
But when I'm doing the edits, when they're reading it loud, and if I know the students well enough, I can prompt and say, hey, remember you did this particular thing before, like how about adding these things here? So if I know them later, I personally do not have the time to know them better.
Yeah. So, and that's my next question. What is your expectation from a student who joins any counseling program? I mean, is it like you handhold them or you just show them the path? So what do you think the student should be committed to?
So that is one thing I do not do. I do not handhold them. I am there to guide them. The student has to run the applications themselves, right? But I will help them. Like, for example, I will have enough brainstorming sessions with the essays, right? I will help them, like, they will choose the essays, but I will say, okay, like, I mean, why are you choosing it? So I'm going to question them and I'm going to ask them and I'm going to, so they can figure like, oh yes, I can really write this prompt well. So I will guide them there. They will write it. I will not write it. I will help edit, meaning like, okay, so let us see, like, is this truly like a statement, or is it an insight? Like, how have you expressed, like, it might be a beautiful essay, but what does it say about you? So what are the values you want to showcase? So these are the things that I prompt, but the student is the one who's running the application. So I have a strict guideline, meaning a timeline, and the student has to follow it. And the kids who follow it do well. The kids who do not follow it, which is very rare, of course, because I kind of sit on top of them to that. But they have a tough time, because I've noticed one thing, like anything that goes in the last moment is not worth it, because these kids have been working from, for such a long time. So in the last, like, what the application is just packaging of what you've done and packaging it well, right? So I don't want that packaging to be sloppy. I don't want essays to be sloppy. I don't want the application to be kind of incomplete because they didn't have time to complete it, right? So that's why I'm very strict on that. But it is essentially the student's application. It is not my application. It is not the parent's application. I like to invite the parents, and I like to have group text and group emails, but parents cannot interfere in the essay writing, meaning like, like we all think in a different, it has to be the 17-year-old writing it. So that's, for me, that's the hardest thing, to keep my own mature self out of their head. So yeah, it's the student who is going to run the application, but I'm there to guide them. I'm there to make sure that they've done, completed everything correctly and thoroughly to the best of their ability.
Correct. Okay, so another question which like a lot of parents ask me all the time is, that, hey, should my student take a lot of AP courses to make his or her profile strong? I mean, my answer is like totally different, but I would like to hear from your, like, what's your take? What do you suggest the parents and student, that just go ahead and take a lot of APs, or just do?
Again, depends, right? If the school offers it, and if the student is able to take the APs and do well. Now, taking the APs and getting 1s and 2s are not worth it,
Okay.
right? So the student has to try their best to get, hopefully the 5, maybe the 4. Some colleges will not accept the 3, right? So, so if the kid is taking way too many APs, and and is consistently having a C or a B in the class, then is it worth it? So that is something. No, I do not suggest you take too many APs, but at the same time, I do not suggest not to take any. You should. The student should apply himself or herself, meaning they should push their boundaries as much as they can. Again, there is no formula. Just because a friend is taking 5 APs doesn't mean that particular student has to take 5 APs. And the APs are there to actually explore. I mean, mostly these are in the subject field that they would want to do, like want to maybe pursue. So maybe a math AP or a STEM AP or a history or an English, but they don't have to do everything. No, they have to take as many APs as they can handle comfortably and well.
And just make sure their grades are still maintained. I think that's the takeaway.
Grades are the bottom line. Nowadays, especially without the SATs and stuff like that, you have to do the best that you can. Again, you don't have to be the 4.0. Not everybody is the 4.0 kind of a student, and that's okay. But you have to do your best. I mean, you have to do your best to get the best GPA that you can get, right? That particular student can get, right? And then, of course, extracurricular activities, and there has to be a balance with the extracurricular activities, and there should not be one. I mean, there is no formula like, okay, if I do tennis and if I do this debate and there is a formula to get into this particular college. There is no such formula. You do what you want to do, what you're good at, what you love doing. And if you're going to grow through it.
Exactly, yes. And and there is another very tactical question the parents keep asking, and we keep discussing, hey, what if my child has 3.5 or something lower than that? Is it like the chances of them going to a good school is completely out? What do you think about it?
No, because in this country, one thing is great is like all schools have a lot to offer, right? So now what is a good school? Is it the ranking? So that is something the parent has to ask themselves. So most parents will not know more than like maybe 10 to 20 names. But there are so many beyond that, right? So there is always a school that will fit that particular student. And again, I mean, wherever that kid will grow, wherever that student will actually, because this 4 years is very important in their lives. They're first thing is they're going to leave home, they're going to live on their own, without the parental influence or the guidance or the umbrella, as we call it. So, and then they will make friends and peers and the network. So it is very important that the student fits, that the college fits the student. So there is, again, good school. I would put it within parentheses because there is nothing called a good school. Every school a good school. It depends on what school fits your student.
Yeah, and I think that's a very important topic, like, because pretty much everybody is in this rat race of just trying to get into either Ivy League or UCs, just because, they have heard about it, that, oh, these are the best colleges. But I really like what you said. You need to identify the college that fits your student, because the growth over there would be tremendous. You don't want to go into the college which is like a cookie cutter, right? Which you think it may fit your student, but it may not, right?
Yeah, and the student should not get lost in that school.
Exactly.
Some schools, I mean, even if it's a name brand or it and you feel like, okay, if the student goes there, the life is made. No, that's not true.
Yes.
It's the student has to be comfortable, has to grow, has to be happy there. Otherwise, it's not going to be a good 4 years for them. So it'll be something that they will not enjoy, and they will not be vested into that particular school, and hence their education will actually fall.
Yeah, Absolutely. So, I mean, coming back to your SAT thing. So, I mean, is SAT going away, or you think it is just like for a couple of years, the SAT is out?
Uh, Again, difficult to say at this point. The
Yeah.
UCs are not going to take. The UCs and CSUs have said that they will not use SATs anymore. They will probably come out with their own testing. I'm not sure when. I keep hearing maybe 2025. I'm not sure. I mean, this is like, thoughts floating around. But the UCs are not taking SATs. But there are some schools which are non-UCs who are still using SAT until there's a better system. So we don't know. So the kids in the interim, like, now, and I don't know how many years from now, they will unfortunately have to sit for the SAT or the ACT if they want to apply outside the UC system and the CSU system, because there are some schools who will take that SAT.
Yes.
But SAT with writing, the essay portion has gone away. So that portion is not there anymore. Subject tests have actually gone. The SAT subject tests are no longer there. So the APs or any courses that you do outside, like community college courses or anything, like, if your school, I mean, sometimes certain schools will, whatever, the teacher or the class or something like that, and the kids don't, haven't done well in that particular class. So how can we showcase that we actually know the subject, so I can do it from outside, or not so much to showcase the college, also to have the base, the learning base, meaning like, okay, if I haven't done in school, if I haven't done well in school, if I take the course outside or something similar outside, and just basically strengthen my base. That's what the goal is. Like, I mean, making sure that you are well-rounded.
Yes, yes. And, I mean, you really bring up a good point here. And this is like, just opening another another set of discussion is like, and I'm very unclear of that. Which are the colleges who accept, courses outside your high school? Is it like there is a set rule?
No. There is no set rule. There are some colleges who will accept, meaning again, so what do you mean by accept? So we have to identify that, right? Whether you're going to get credit or not.
Yes.
Now, certain schools, like high schools, have allowed students to take courses from, say, community college, and they will add it in their transcript. So if they add it in that transcript, at that point, the colleges will accept. So beyond that, it is really college to college basis, right? I mean, just like the APs, like not all APs are accepted by all colleges, right? So again, that's a very personal choice from the colleges itself. But you do the courses again, not so much to lessen your load in the college, but to understand more about the subject, whether you want to pursue that as a major, whether you want to, like you have some kind of an interest, doesn't have to be a major, like you really like, that particular subject. So that's why you do it, to actually expand your own horizon, not necessarily for the college's profile, because we can't, like a student cannot fit themselves to a particular college's profile, right? Their profile has to, so they have to be the best themselves. So that's why you do the courses outside. Sometimes, certain things are not available in high schools. And then you do it, and then you're really interested, then you follow up, or, something of that sort. And sometimes a scheduling conflict also happens in high school. They didn't get the courses or whatever, because high schools are now, there's so many students. So at that point, you want to do things from outside.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Thank you so much. So that brings me to my second last question. That second last question is, I know we've really put together a lot of effort in, preparing ourselves for the college. There have been like a discussion, among parents is like, should we change the high school in 12th grade and go to a high school which is not that competitive and will really put my kid in a better situation for the college placement?
So this is a it's a double-edged question. So let me try and kind of decipher this, right? So one thing, if the student is going to a particular high school and that the high school has not been suiting that student, meaning like, somehow or the other, it's like either too competitive, either the student is not growing well or having a lot of issues, stressful issues, and maybe anxiety, those kind of stuff, then by all means move, because then that particular student that particular high school does not fit that particular kid, right? Now, yes, there are some schools which are slightly underprivileged who they don't have enough courses and stuff like that, or they're located in certain places, so some students will get in the colleges that otherwise with that number students from a different school may not get in. That is definitely a fact. But now changing into the 12th grade in my opinion is tough, and I don't think it should be the norm, because remember one thing, certain schools are going to require recommendation letters. Now if you're changing in 12th grade, the teachers don't know you.
Okay.
So you want to get recommendation letters from 11th grade on, 10th and 11th, preferably 11th grade. So now if you've changed the school, and if it's a public school, then the other school teachers will not be able to send you the rec letters. The rec letters can be done, maybe a coach can, but not otherwise, right? Okay. So that it's a little bit difficult. The other thing, we always have to remember the students' mental health, because they will be leaving their friends. They will be whether that is going to be a good choice in their mind or not, right? It is not all about getting into the so-called name brand colleges. Will you do well there is the bottom line. Will that college fit that particular student, right? So we have to make sure that we understand their emotional health, leaving all the friends, going and mixing with a new group of friends. Some kids can do it very easily, some kids cannot do it very easily, and then will they be able to go to the proms? And those things are a big part in the students' lives, right?
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that part is also concluded. So 12th grade, in my opinion, is not a good time, but like by 9th and 10th, like if the 9th grade doesn't work out, by 10th grade you might want to look into a place where it suits the student better.
Okay.
But 11th and 12th, because 11th is when you are actually getting the rec letters from, at least from that standpoint.
Got it.
I would prefer not to move my kid.
Okay, great. Okay, that brings me to your last question. So if anybody visiting our website, if they want to contact you, what is the best number and email contact to reach out to you?
The best email is Counselor Millie, COUNSELORMILLIE @gmail.com. So that's going to be the best thing. Right now, I'm using my personal phone to be connected because I've lost my SIM. Something happened with my phone and I have to get the new SIM for my work number. So my number is 1-925-360-0360.
All right, great. All right, so we'll post that, and hopefully there will be more students coming to you, and you'll be
Thank you.
So many, young lives and make a difference.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
I really enjoy doing it. I keep telling myself only a few more
know.
years, and then I keep adding more students because I just love doing it. I mean, it's just fantastic when they get what they want.
Yeah, I can definitely see you are really passionate about it. And this field is all about passion.
It is all about passion. Absolutely. I mean, you have to want to do it, because otherwise it's a very stressful.
Oh, yeah.
Stressful. And then, for us, we don't have too many weekends and weeknights because we are working with the students, and they can give us, only evenings and weekends. So we don't have that, especially now for me, from July till December, I almost have no weekends. So
yes.
So that, but it's a well spent time, I should say, when the kids start telling me I got into this, I got into that. So
I know.
It feels so good. Yeah,
absolutely. And thank you so much for
You're very welcome.
All the great information, Millie. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you so much, Priyanka. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.